Caesar, I don't know if you saw this, made some headlines recently. Your boy, Johnny from Jersey Shore, Infantino, um, he's still talking about, okay, I'll say, I don't think he's like really, really trying to push it, but he's still putting it out there. Um, his plans for maybe having a World Cup every 2 years. He's saying that it could stop African migrants from finding death in the sea. I'll read some of what he said. Um, he said, this topic is not about whether we want a World Cup every 2 years, but about what do we want to do for the future of football. If we think about the rest of the world and vast majority of Europe, then we have to think about what football brings. Football is about opportunity, blah, blah, blah. We need to find ways to include the whole world to give hope to Africans so they don't need to cross the Mediterranean in order to find maybe a better life, but more probably death in the sea. We need to give opportunities, to give dignity, not by charity, but by allowing the rest of the world to participate. Maybe the World Cup every 2 years is not the answer, but we discuss it. I'll just say this really quick. From reading that, it doesn't seem like he's saying like having the World Cup every 2 years is going to save people. I think he's trying to say like he's putting an idea out there and he's saying like maybe a World Cup every 2 years, which I don't agree with, could create more opportunities for people in the regions where like they're not benefiting as much from football as they could be or as other places are.
I'm going to, without a doubt, 1,000,000% disagree with this. I think it echoes like a lot of conservative narrative where they try to highlight 1% of cases and then blow them out of proportion to be like a main talking point, like such as like when like the discussion is like, oh, well, you know, what about that one person that did this, what opportunity that made for them? I think it's about creating opportunities that can help a large portion of people and has real fundamental value. Maybe instead of creating a world tournament, which you're only taking a select few from already a select few clubs internationally, what's this? How does that even work? That doesn't even make sense to me because like if you're even talking about the sport itself, a lot of these players don't even live in the regions that they play for the national team. So it's like it's just kind of weird to like believe that the economic growth of the World Cup will be the reason why you're going to create job opportunities and all this other stuff. Like it's super, super reachy for me. I think it'd be better to create more funding into international club tournaments that would give additional exposure to players in other regions. Maybe if you actually had tournaments that would bring in teams from Africa and Asia and did more inclusion to those that go against, that bring them up against teams in Europe, to go against teams in America, that would create more exposure, thus leading to more opportunities for people we never see. I've literally never had my eyes on like some like a team from South Africa play. Like I love looking at videos from Kaiser Chiefs play. I love watching those stuff. I've never seen them play a game. I'd love to see them in a World Club tournament. Put them in a Club Cup tournament. Put some actual funding into the tournament instead of having a Confederations Cup a year before the World Cup. How about you do something like that where we get to see a real valued club world tournament? Yeah, it's cool. Chivas makes it, or Americas, or Cruz Azul, but do stuff like this. Put real promotion and effort towards it. That gives people exposure to want to get these players, right? And that'll allow them to do partnerships like PSV does with Chivas. They have a partnership now agreement where they share academies, resources, and players. That's huge. Going from Guadalajara to Netherlands, that's really cool to see that kind of connection. Portugal did that with the Chinese league. Like, I think that is more inclusive in terms of helping people than the world. I think he's pushing something that sounds very corporate to me. Like he's maximum corporate, and it's when a corporate person tells you what's good for the people, that's always concerning. That's always concerning behavior, because what's his real win? Does he really win from migrants in the sea coming over? Does he really care about these people? No, I think what he cares more is about making those billionaires and trillionaires at the largest sport in the world become richer, right? And they become richer through investing in these growth and construction opportunities for the World Cup.
I mean, I feel you.
So I think it's a reach, dog. I think it's a reach.
Okay, I do like. I'll say something in response to what you said, which I think is good. But I'll also say like, what he's taught, I don't think a World Cup every 2 years is going to do what he thinks it could do, but I think that what they really need to do at FIFA is they need to put something in place to stop corruption in the federations, and I think they need to incentivize having less corruption. We've seen corruption in all of the federations, in all these different, national federations too.
Mhm.
And if FIFA, as like the umbrella organization, does more to stop that corruption, and when they see that things are like not corrupt, they make things they put something in place that's lucrative for those national teams and federations. I think that would work more. But to what you said,
Mhm.
I think something like talking about the smaller clubs and like the smaller nations. I think something that FIFA could do, like, not right now, but like very soon, is have their own media. Like if FIFA itself had media where they broadcast South Africa or the Vietnamese league or like Costa Rica or whatever, like in like Jordan or who knows, like broadcasting the leagues from smaller nations that don't get as much publicity and making it so, or broadcasting um like qualifiers or friendly matches between like you know Thailand versus Rwanda or whatever. I don't know. Like get like putting something out there that's like easily like basically free because they got the money for it. So people like us could tune into club matches and national teams that don't get that much exposure. I think, like, let's say we're talking about African migrants, and the African migrants generally are coming from like Eritrea or like somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa
Mhm.
through like Libya or North Africa going across the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
If you have a situation where the Eritrean league or the league in Chad or the league wherever, Mali, is like broadcast, there's an opportunity for these players to get seen more. Because, I mean, we're seeing it. I was watching Mali play. There's some good players.
Yeah.
Then,
Even Komodos has some good players. Like, these guys are pretty good,
absolutely,
dude. They could play in a lot of places.
for sure. Like, then I think that going like to what you're saying, like, then you have that opportunity because you have the scouts being able to see if all it takes is you see some flash, like, wow, who's that guy? Then you take a trip there and then, there's opportunity.
I love sports, and I feel sports through a foundation of life almost. Like it's huge in terms of my life and everything. But it's a millistep away from entertainment. And in entertainment, what is the number one thing that gets you anywhere? It's exposure. It's people being able to see what you can do. Reputation's good, rumors are good, but exposure is what moves you to the next step. And you need to apply that even with the sport as well too. We could talk about how good Komodo's a player. We can do this podcast and talk about how good African League players are, and we can look up this one guy and see he has 45 goals in whatever league down there. That's probably in every year, and he could be a record breaker. But you only know unless we're exposed to see it for ourselves. Seeing that talent on display is huge. We grow up. People love the underdog story so much. Remember a couple years ago, Real Madrid going against Ludogorets and like how crazy that was. I looked up those players. I wanted to see what's going on. People got exposure. I remember a player made it out of Ludogorets. I forgot I was a player that left it out of the league too. Like
they're all Brazilian.
Yeah. So like that stuff is like that. That's what it's about. It's about just really finding a way to get maximum visibility for them. More visibility creates more opportunities, at least in terms of like in like immediate entertainment space. You want to talk about logistics and stuff you want to build, that's different. I agree with that. But if you're going to just use the World Cup as a platform, then that's just leading to entertainment, which I don't think is the appropriate course in which you're really going to develop and stop migrants. I mean, like, I just feel like I feel like you're kind of like, it's kind of wild to be saying that willy-nilly, man. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I don't think that he was really correlating the two.
Okay.
I don't think that. I'm trying to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt,
Okay.
but like,
But he's pushing as hard.
but I do think he's wrong because okay, either he's just like throwing something out there or he's like a bad person and he's like, well, you know, you got AFCON and you got the Euros and you got um Copa America and Gold Cup. He's like, well, FIFA don't really eat that much off of those, but we eat off the World Cup. So we're trying to do more World Cups. Either he's like that terrible, or he's just like thinking like, you know, or he's a good person and he's like trying to think of something that could help, you know, underserved people. I